homies, niggas can't even hop out. Niggas did a drive-by, but it's cool. I bet not hear you niggas bragging about this, about a drive-by. You Inglewood families don't do no drive-bys though.
I got shot, and then like 4 months later, I was recovering, and I got shot again.
That's on the dead homies. We had 2 straps on us, nigga. Life had happened like that, nigga. We had 2 guns. The dead homies, nigga. We was strapped, nigga. Niggas just caught us lacking, nigga, on the set. On Ev Gang, FIP Darby though, on the hood. FIP Darby, nigga. On the set. Dead homies, man. That was one of my best friends, nigga.
In today's video, we're gonna talk about FRosTy the Snowman, aka FRosTy from Inglewood Families. We're gonna cover everything from his court cases, to him being accused of shooting a Rollin 60 member, to him getting shot. But let's get into it. FRosTy would be raised in Inglewood, and he would be part of the Inglewood family bloods. As you can see right there, they would be inside that black square. FRosTy would be in and out of jail for a bunch of little things, but we're gonna start off with his first adult case. He was arrested on January 11th of 2016 at the age of 19 for 2 separate counts. 1 count for driving under the influence of a drug, and the second count would pretty much be speeding. But even though it was a misdemeanor, he would have to bail out for $10,000. He would then fight this case for a couple of months, but on August 22nd of 2016, he would take a plea deal just for the speeding, but he would have the DUI dismissed. He would then get 2 years of probation, but just the next month, on September 26th of 2016, he would be arrested for 3 separate counts. 1 count of criminal threats, and 2 counts of assault with a firearm on a person. But if you look to the right, the offense date was September 16th of 2016, 10 days before he was arrested. This would be the shooting on the Rollin 60s, and we're going to show you proof in a second. He would then bail out 2 months later, on November 17th of 2016, for $140,000. He would stay out on bail until August 29th of 2017, to where he would take a plea deal. But as you see, the criminal threats and the 2 assault with a firearm on a person were dismissed. But they added 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon with force, causing possible great bodily injury, and he would take a plea deal on that. But this right here would be the proof that it was on a Rollin 60 member. This right here would be a case of an unrelated murder of an Inglewood family member that killed somebody from Rollin 90s. And during the trial, they were trying to show that the neighborhood's beef with the Inglewood families, and they were given examples. And during that, as you see right there, would say Inglewood family bloods gang member Masai Lopez was convicted of an assault with force, likely to produce great bodily injury on a perceived member of the Rollin 60s gang. FRosTy would receive 3 years for that situation, but even though they gave him that, he would be released the next year because he had 134 days of total credit and he would parole early. He would then stay out of trouble for almost a year, but on December 7th of 2019, he would be arrested. This time it would be for theft, but this case would also be a misdemeanor. And since he caught that case while on parole, on December 13th of 2019, he would catch a violation. He would then sit for about a month, but then on January 29th of 2020, they would reinstate his parole and he would be released. But he was still fighting the theft case at this time. But a month after his release, he would take a plea deal on the theft on February 10th of 2020. He technically wouldn't get no time because they gave him 110 days, but he had 110 days credit from the parole violation. So he would be set free on that day. But unfortunately, just 6 months later, FRosTy would be arrested again, this time for a robbery, on August 18th of 2020. And even though count 2 says health and safety code, it would really mean possession of bud with intent to sell without a license. And don't forget he was still on parole at this time, so they would violate him again on August 21st of 2020. But 10 days after that, on August 31st of 2020, he would post a $40,000 bail and he would be released. But on October 16th of 2020, he would have both counts dismissed. But he would still have to sit for the parole violation, and they would take him into custody November 5th of 2020. He would then be released 6 months later, on April 7th of 2021. But just 4 months after his release, FRosTy would almost lose his life. Let's get into it.
Nah, F Gang, FIP Darby though, in the hood. Everybody say FIP Darby. FIP Darby.
Michigan DeAndre, I'm flaming, nigga. Love you, blood.
But now let's get into what happened that day. It would be August 10th of 2021, the Inglewood Family Hood Day. And at 4:30 p.m., near the intersection of La Brea and Centinela Avenue, there would be shots fired. And when officers arrived, they found both victims suffering from gunshot wounds, which would be Darby and FRosTy. The shooters then fled the scene and no suspect descriptions were provided. Darby was unresponsive, but FRosTy was still responsive. The shooting would happen in this white circle in the NHP neighborhood. Darby would pass away a few hours later, and he was 25 years old. And 4 months after this situation, FRosTy would be shot again.
I got shot, and then like 4 months later, I was recovering and I got shot again. Then I had to go back to surgery.
But a few months after recovering from both them situations, he would be arrested again, but this time it would be for petty theft. He was arrested on July 10th of 2022, but since this was a misdemeanor, they would let him go on August 8th of 2022, and he would get 1 year of probation for the petty theft on December 20th of 2022. FRosTy would then stay out of trouble for about 8 months, and on August 14th of 2023, he would catch a new case. And this time he would be arrested for threatening to commit a crime with intent to terrorize. This would be the situation that he spoke about on Say Cheese, where he said somebody threatened him with a gun, and when he pulled out his gun, that person that threatened him ended up running away and running inside a Crenshaw High and telling the police it was FRosTy that did it. He would then bail out for $50,000 2 weeks later, on August 29th of 2023. And while he was on that bail, I'm sure you already know what's coming next. He would be arrested again, but this time it would be for felon in possession of a firearm. California just labels felons attic for some reason. But he was arrested October 6th of 2023. He was arrested at 6:45 at night out of the Southwest Division. But he would only have to sit for 5 days, because on October 11th of 2023, he would get a court order for release. But just 4 months later, he would be caught with a fair amount of bud again, and they would hit him with another bud charge. But this time he would only get a letter to appear in court. He wouldn't be arrested. But then a month after that, he would be arrested again with a gun, this time on April 1st of 2025. But this time, he would get a DA reject 2 days later on April 3rd of 2025. And don't forget, at this time, he was still fighting that case to terrorize and make threats. And on top of that, he was still fighting that Bud case. But just 2 weeks after getting that DA reject, he would have the Bud case dismissed on April 14th of 2025. And a month after that, on May 14th of 2025, he would have the threats to commit crime dismissed. But now that FRosTy's case free, hopefully he can stay that way, and hopefully he focuses back on music. Because in my personal opinion, he's probably the most witty rapper out of LA, and a lot of people already stole his flow. And on top of that, he's funny and got an internet personality. So hopefully he just focuses on that. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Subscribe, comment, and like. I appreciate y'all. It's Respectable Rants.